All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this January 21st Cross Project Council session. Welcome, everybody. So today, do we have any announcements that we want to share? Wow, crickets. Okay. Perfect. Well, let's move into the further parts of this agenda. Yeah, if you haven't added your name to the minutes that I think were shared in the chat, please do so now. I'll do so myself too. And then let's look at the yeah, so we have some private session that will be running after this call to discuss travel fund and new regular members. I don't think we have any board meeting updates or board topics, as the next board meeting is this Friday, right? In terms of staff updates,
I removed the staff update on one of the issues. It's the workshop we're doing. So that's now on issue in the agenda, so.
okay, so we can talk about this then. And I was also, I bumped into two things looking at the staff update. One was the hospital run project, and I don't know if we have an update on this, Ben. Oh, we do.
We do, yeah. We are just waiting for the hospital run NPM org to be transferred to us. There's a little miscommunication in that they thought I was talking about the GitHub organization, which had already been sorted. So we're just waiting on that. That's the last thing until we can close this out.
All right, wonderful. Transferred to the foundation. Okay, let me just add this. Do we have also an open issue on this, or that's in the?
Yeah, it's in the archive, the hospital run project open GitHub issue.
But it's not in the agenda, right?
I don't see it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna put it in the minutes, and I mean directly in the issue itself. Sorry. Of course, I'm failing to find it now. Okay. Sorry. There we go. CPC update. All right, and then there was a second one. Oh yeah, which was the continuity policy on package registries. This is something that was raised a while back, and then kind of like we forgot about it. And I'm just wondering if there are any news on this topic. This is issue 1355.
There isn't. I think this is a good idea for the next working session.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. I think we can get a couple ideas from folks that attend, and then maybe I can run with a proposal if we get some consensus around how we want to approach this.
All right, so let's add this to the working session at the bottom, and this would be looking at issue 1355. Would it be useful to tag it again with like the CPC agenda or not yet? Maybe as a result of that session?
Yeah, I think that's fine. We'll just wait.
All right, cool. And then there was waiting on legal info. I'm seeing 1359, which is the update the OpenJS CLAs.
I need to follow up on this one. We did do an update of the CLA to remove
the addresses.
The addresses, yeah.
Right, I remember this.
Yeah, so I need to double check on this one. So I just assigned it to myself.
Hold on, oh, saw that. Hold on, required. Okay. And then, requirements for projects releasing internal projects to third-party contributor. Requirements for projects ingesting other existing external projects and IP policy license exemption request for loopback. Well, we'll drop the last one because that would be on Joe and he's not here. The other one, do we have any updates on this? None? That's fine. And I'll write the same for the second one. All right. Okay. And I think with this, we've covered sort of all aspects of the pre-agenda. There were no waiting on the website update. I looked at it before. All right, so issue 1408, and that is add CPC private mailing list to form submission. I don't even know what that is, to be honest.
I can give
Oh,
us
yes,
yeah.
please.
So we have a couple Google Forms that we use for the CPC. The first one is community folks requesting they become regular members. Second is the travel fund. Up until recently, you couldn't add an email notification to Google Forms to anything but yourself. But that's changed. And so what I'd like to do is add the CPC private mailing list to these two forms so that when someone submits either a request to become a regular member or they request a travel fund, the CPC private email list is notified. This removes myself from being the single point of failure if I don't check my email or whatever. And it also means that I don't necessarily have to email folks a reminder saying, hey, we have a new request. You would have gotten an email already. The email doesn't look great that comes from Google, but like it does its job. And so before I added the CPC private email alias to this form and possibly others, I just wanted to be sure that folks were okay with these new communications coming through.
Cool, thank you for the update. That issue has 6 +1s and no -1s. I would suggest that we decide that it is approved, and it's something that's really easy to back out if it like ends up being like really painful. So I don't see any reason not to approve it and move forward. Any objections from anyone? All good? Go ahead and do it. We can roll back if necessary. All right. Oh, I love the smell of posing issues in the evening. Right. Moving on to the next issue, which is 1399, I believe. And this is CPC approval of tiny charter change for Node.js. Any idea what the status of that is? Anyone wants to speak to it? I mean, there's a bunch of like +1s and look goods to me that are 2 weeks old. I mean, this looks like it should move forward, no? Right. All right. So
Somebody just needs to jump in and say it was approved or considered approved.
yeah, CPC call. This was approved. Right. new project application process and implementation. Audit new project application process and implementation. That's 1398. Oh, that's one I opened. Oh yeah, so this was following a project, sending an application and this essentially getting lost. We discussed this in the last week's CPC session and agreed to update the process for project applications. And we essentially had two to-dos. One is to tighten the list of people, and the other one of people being on the receiving end of new projects. And the other one was to update the process accordingly. This seems fairly straightforward. Someone has to write the pull request for this. Is that are people good with that assessment? Do you all need a summary of the discussion for folks who were not there?
Yeah, how do you decide who's on that shortened list? Because typically it's always been CPC private.
My understanding is the decision we made was this was going to be the ED, the program manager, and the CPC chair and vice chair.
Okay, that makes sense.
So essentially, the idea, to be clear, was to solve a number of problems. One was, it was never super clear if folks sending in the application were on the thread or not, and people were, that was a friction point for people to reply. So that was the first one of the aspects. The second aspect was sometimes we actually didn't get the notifications. And also we didn't follow up directly with the folks putting in the application. It wasn't clear whose role it was. Oh yeah, Robin, this is good that you're here and that you asked that question.
No,
what we decided in that session was that it would be great if it was you that actually replied, where like the acknowledged receipt and sort of like replied to the original posters, essentially, right? Are you okay with this? We you
Yeah,
were not
totally
there, so we
okay.
didn't ask.
No, that's totally okay. And typically they sort of come, I know about them already. It's the ones that are surprises, I think, that get lost, or the ones that got lost. So
Right.
yeah, it makes a
So
lot of sense. And if everyone's in charge, no one's in charge or on point. So I can do that.
So general agreement about the plan outlined above. Next steps. This needs PR, right? And then I'm gonna tag this with needs a pull request. There we go. Update steps for submitting a support request, 1397. Ben? Oh. You preempted this. Can you
Yeah,
tell
'cause I was
us
like,
why you closed this?
Yeah, I closed this because we updated this in a different PR. So we did a bunch of work on this. Originally, it was written to use Jira. Now it's using GitHub as its primary. We also added like what to do in an emergency to get 24/7 support. So again, if there's other things that we want to add or update here, we can create a new issue. But I felt that that old issue was out of date based on all the other changes that we've been making.
Closed as out of date, right? That
Yep.
was 1397, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Health check on the native script TST charter and adding affiliation clause to native script charter. These are actually on me, and I realized that I haven't followed up as I had promised to do on both of these, which is not good at all. can um could either Robin or you, Ben, hold me accountable to follow up on this by end of week? Because I have a lot on my plate and my little concern is going to slip by again. Is that an okay ask? You're muted, Robin.
I can do that, and I have context too, so if you need to,
Wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. Very much appreciated.
yep.
So on both of those, no update would be the update here. Toby to follow up. Create process doc to request infrastructure resources through OpenJS partners. This is 1367. Is anyone familiar with this? Ben, do you want to, like, yeah. Sorry to ask again, but like your comment is like the last, oh, this is old, November.
Yeah, I think it's the same.
It's the one that you just closed.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same issue. Same question being asked. It's like, hey, how do we request resources for our projects, right? And I think it's the same answer, which is follow the document that we just updated, which is if you need any help with infrastructure, file an IT ticket.
Yeah, so it's more than support. It's new support and new services, I think.
Yeah.
Is really the clarification we need. That's in there.
So it to me it feels like I don't know, it feels like the work has been done, but it would be good to also give the context in that issue. And would that be reasonable? Maybe just like link to where the actual, because it feels like, you know, this conversation kind of like there's meandering around it quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot, but like, I mean, I think maybe if we ask like Christian if that answer was satisfying and if he felt we could close it, would be good. Are you adding?
Oh.
Okay, cool. Ben to add context. Let's ask Christian if okay to close. Code of conduct plan of action, that's 1122. And I think there's a few issues that are still open here. One is open and pull. So going down the list of open, like non-check boxes on 1122, I'm seeing open a pull request against the onboarding checklist. So that's something that needs to be done. There is an open pull request for this, which is 1255. There was the idea of upgrading to Contributor Covenant 2.1, which Joe signed up to, so we'll wait for him to get back on this. And then there was the idea to move the COC to a .github repository.
Yeah, I can do that. I just haven't done it yet.
That is entirely acceptable. It would be really weird of me to make a comment about this, given some of the previous items that we
I can
discussed.
probably find some time to knock it out this weekend. It's like a 20-minute process. I just have to have my head in the game for it.
Yeah, I mean, my main concern here is like, how can we do this and figure out like make sure where the source of truth remains and make sure that we're all like on in agreement about where that is. Is like my main concern around this. If that's not an issue, then it's easy.
I think actually the biggest issue is that there are existing pull requests to change the document. So the thing that would be smoothest is to wait until all PRs that change the document are
Okay.
closed or merged, at which point I can do it very, very simply and
Okay.
resolve all those concerns. So I think that's my retroactive excuse for why it's not done yet.
Entirely valid. Some work.
I'll edit the issue
still
to
needs
add that
to be
clarification.
done. Oh, cool. Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, and then lastly on the agenda, the nonviolent communication 1106. And I think we made a bunch of progress on this, and we're waiting to decide on a date.
I think the dates seem pretty clear, just based on the few comments. I think we had 6 folks kind of vote, but just given the holiday in April and TC 39, I had our trainer lock on March 6th and 7th. If you all are great with that, and then I am going to send a Google form out for people to register. So the CPC and our top maintainers. We'll have some wiggle room for people to kind of join at the end, but we want to know your names, your locations, your pronouns, and things like that, and just get a good head count before.
So current proposal to run the sessions March, March what? 3 and 4, is that what you said?
6 and 7.
Glad I asked. 6 and 7 for and CPC members you said, and
And yeah, and lead maintainers of other projects.
was and lead maintainers. And then sort of email announcement to follow, something like this.
Yeah, registration form.
Thank you. Registration form to follow. All right, are folks okay with these dates? I'm seeing nor hearing any objections, so that I must assume that means yes. Awesome, wonderful. Then we have this OpenJS plus open source pledge issue that's been open for a while, and that I thought we had sent back to the collab space.
We did. The collab space fell on a holiday, a Monday, so that they have not met yet.
So waiting on collab space or close here or
Waiting on collab space.
all right, cool. And we have a working session for next week already that was proposed earlier in this call. And we're 28 minutes in and done with the agenda. Last time this happened, then like a whole bunch of like unpleasantness ensued with other topics coming up. So I'm kind of scared to jinx it here. But I do, and I'm not sure, I'm terrible with names and faces, and I don't want to accidentally offend people who might be newcomers, but also might not be. Ryan, is this your first time joining this call, or did you show up in the past? And I'm just really terrible with names and faces.
This is indeed my first call.
Oh, amazing. Welcome.
Yes. So I'm assuming this is the short intro is hi, I'm Ryan. I was one of the co-founders of Formidable back in the day, and we got acquired by Nearform. And as part of the acquisition, I had to kind of head up a business unit for a while to do the integration. But now I've switched roles to head of technology and open source. So I get to be geeky again. And that's also dovetailed. I reached out to Robin to say, hey, because we'd met like a year ago, and to actually have the time to focus on technology and open source. And I guess other fun fact, in my deep, dark past, almost 20 years ago now, I used to be a patent and IP attorney. So I do pay attention to the open source licensing stuff is about the only practical usefulness. And then you can just ignore that if you've got bad experiences with lawyers. I'll otherwise shut up.
This is great. Welcome. Yeah, so happy I wasn't wrong about this. Thank you for the intro. Thank you very much. And then while I'm on that topic, is Sebastian Beltran that's on my bottom right also a newcomer or not? Well, we will never find out. Sebastian, if you do happen to have the unmute button around and want to say hi. Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say Sebastian has the Spanish to English translator on for our meetings.
so that's entirely fine. Apologies for putting you on the spot like this. See, I knew I was gonna screw something up, so that was that. Yeah. Well, if you want to, at some point, and if you have joined calls already, which I'm not sure, but if you do want to share an intro in written about yourself at some point, I'll also be very happy to read it out. Yeah, and so
Okay.
perfect. Thanks for your understanding.
Sebastian's also active in Express as well. Yeah.
Amazing. And I hear some people can actually help directly translate, which is also great. Thank you for offering this. Yeah, just as a quick reminder for newcomers, we do have a fairly easy and privacy-aware way for CPC members for newcomers to register as CPC members if they want to, which adds them to the list, to the mailing list, and allows them to join our private sessions. And as an example, look at new coming projects for the foundation and make comments about those. So you're more than welcome to do this, Ryan, obviously. Yeah, there's hopefully an easy link to do so directly from the README on the main page of the Cross Project Council's GitHub repository. And if you can't find it, please feel free to ping any of us to get it. And I think with that said, that's pretty much all that we have for today's cross-project session. So thank you very much for joining us, and I think we can turn the streaming off.